Hello folks, Tom Loman here. This video I'm going to show you how I made a bowl using this pattern here. There's 112 segments per row and there's 36 rows. This is open segment. So what I do here is bring this spreadsheet into the shop that defines what kind of woods, how big a piece is, what angles, things like that. I'll show you all the steps. The first thing I'm going to be doing here is making the base of it, and that's going to be a closed segment row, and that's going to be 24 segments per row, and it'll be wingy. And I'll show you how I do that. I'm going to be using a wedgie sled to do that base. And I sorted them by the type. So what you'll do here is there's a line on one and no line on the other, and the markings on top. So you just alternate back and forth. Looking good so far. Yeah, I think that's a good ring there, just like that. So add no adjustments. We're not gonna have to do a half ring. We're just gonna glue it up straight up right there, because the joints are just perfect. Alright, so I got all the strips sanded down to size. I normally go to 0.135 on the thickness of this. So what I'll do now is, this outside one here is a sacrifice, and then this blood one here is sacrifice. I glue just the very ends of them, and and I'll clamp that together. The first row is glued on now. I'll lathe it and can start putting the open segment rows on top of this. So, or clean release tape, because when you cut the pieces, if you don't get the clean release, it has a little bit of the gum from the tape that rubs off on the little pieces, so I get the clean release stuff type. You still might get a little bit, but nothing like if you don't get the clean release. Piece on the base row, and plan calls for 5.1. This bottom row is just a hair over 5, so I'm not even going to use the stop here. It's going to judge it based on the roundness of the base. Got it glued on. Now I need to make it flat, and I use this. This is off a 20-inch PSA type sanding disc, 60 grit. I find it pretty nice for making it perfectly flat. So you see me twisting it, twisting it. Now, what you'll have to do once you got it good here is go back onto the lathe and find out if this side is higher than this side. Just make sure you keep it true. So that's all you got to do. The first row is like 5.1 and the next row is 5.6. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting a mark where the next row tips will fit to make it 5 and 5.6. So it's overhanging almost a 1/4 inch, not quite, it's 0.2 overhang here. So I'll just go make a mark right here. That amount will provide the overhang for the next row. So I got a mark on here, 0. So I match that up with the index wheel and push it down tight. Bring down the stop, the piece stop. And I should be set to start gluing here. Right there. So let's start gluing pieces on now. So what I'm doing here is I'm gluing on enough pieces to be 1/4 of the way around. So then after that, then I clamp it down, let the glue dry a little bit, and then I start the next quarter of putting pieces down. So there's 112 pieces that go around here, so that 1/4 is 28. So I put 28, I glue 28 pieces down, clamp it, and then I start again. You see how I made pencil mark here and a pencil mark up above, right here and here. So now I'm going to sand it, and when these pencil lines are gone, I'm going to consider it flat. Here to make sure that it's even on both sides is I'll have the rest here tight on it, and then it goes loose. You don't hear anything, and it goes tight again. So what I'll do is mark where it starts getting tight, like that, and then it's loose there, and it starts about right here. So I'll mark that down, and then I'll hand sand that area to get it a little more taken off this side than this side. So I'll hand sand it, keep it at that one spot, and push down on the spot that needs to be sanded off more. And first thing is to make sure all the pencil marks are gone, and then I might do a little bit more just to get it. Then I'll go and retest it again, see how we're doing. So I'm using this pencil mark that I made to, I verify that it's right there. This is supposed to be 8.4, at least close, and it was. So now I'll just use that line to, like I said before, it's my first time using the 14-inch and I'm liking it. Alright, so we're going to do row 12 now. And row 11 called for a 0.220. Now for row, and that's in inches, row 12 is 0.227. So 7/1000ths of an inch bigger for the next row. How do I make it that? I use the feeler gauge. So what we do here is loosen the clamp here, move it out, put your feeler gauge in, like so. Tighten your clamp down, take the feeler gauge out, loosen that clamp, move it over. Then load your stock, tighten it down, and cut. Alright, take it out. Now we got 8 pieces cut there, so that's how I cut. is my last open segment row to do, using my new 14-inch diameter index wheel that you can buy on my site, segmentturning.org. You can go all the way from 144 segments down to 4 segments if you want. It has 502 holes in it, and I sell it for $65. Has a 1/4 inch thick polycarbonate, so pretty tough stuff. Marks here. Like I said before, I'm going to sand it until that pencil mark goes away, then I know it's totally flat. Alright, so it's all gone, so this has to be all flat now. This hub is made for a Powermatic mic that has the 2 flat sides. Mine here. I think I'm going to do every 4. So I got every 4th piece glued in. So what I do now is I piece them in. I dry fit them first. See, that fits nicely. So then I'll put the glue on. Just push it in tight. Move on to the next one. Alright, so I'm getting ready to cut it off here. At the smallest part here, we're at about 2.5 inches. The hole that's in here, or the base ring, is 2 inches. So we have about a 1/4 inch all the way around here to cut off yet. So anyway, yeah. Okay, so I got it, all the little pieces glued in, taken from this here.